Hello, welcome to my channel. This is Chanel with Gen Wealth Builders. And today's video is going to be more of like an educational video about what's the difference between having insurance coverage, specifically life insurance coverage on your job, versus insurance coverage that you yourself personally own. So, most people, when talking with my clients, a, a frequent, I don't want to say concern, but there seems to be a bit of a misunderstanding out there in terms of if you actually own your own life insurance coverage. And frequently I hear that I already have coverage on my job, so I'm good. And I have to ask this, are you really good? So the reason I say this is because, in this country, they've kind of trained us to expect to be taken care of by the boss, by the company. And this could go all the way back to the plantation slavery era where, the master took care of your food, clothing to a degree, and everything else. And then kind of going into the old company store model. And if you're not familiar with the company store model, what that said is you worked for the company. And in return, the company gave you benefits as company housing. You will be able to get, of course, a paycheck, but the company had a general store, and that general store will deduct from your paycheck everything that you needed for life, in terms of food, toiletries, and everything else. Needless to say, that model of doing things isn't really what you would consider to be a free, independent model, considering we live here in the States, because the company, the boss, your employer, literally owned everything. And if you got those benefits, it was all dependent on your boss. So if your benefits was tied to the boss, does your boss own your benefits or do you do? Right? So let's fast forward to now. Now, companies will typically give their employees benefits as being an employee with them. And part of the benefits is typically health insurance, disability insurance, long-term care insurance, and life insurance, which is usually up to 3 times your income. And then you could take out additional coverage as a multiplier, like 5 or 10 times that particular amount. But here's the thing. The one who owns that policy is not you. That master policy is in the company's, the employer's name. And as long as you work for them, you are able to borrow those benefits for a price. You get to piggyback off of them. And so your coverages, your benefits are all dependent on the goodwill and the premium payments that your employer pays. You have the benefit of hopping on them or borrowing their coverages for a price, but you never actually own it. So just imagine, if you will, you're working, you're taking care of your family, you're doing everything you can. Imagine being in a situation where for your light bill, you are not actually the one where the light bill's in your name, the light bill's in your boss's name. And what happens if you and your boss have a falling out? Well, if your boss decides, I can't quite cover this, click goes the lights. What do you do? It's the same scenario. Life insurance, especially term insurance coverages like that, which are designed to make sure that if anything happens to you, your family is taken care of. So just like you will make sure that your light bills are taken care of, your food bill is taken care of, your car insurance is taken care of, clothing is taken care of. If anything happens to you, especially if you are the main breadwinner, You need to set aside money to make sure your family is taken care of. And that is something that is so extremely important. And you cannot just leave that in the hands of your employer. Because here's the thing. The longer that you leave it in the hands of your employer, the more expensive it gets for you over time when you finally understand that your life insurance is going to be based off of your current age and your current health. And every time you put it off, thinking, oh, my boss will take care of it. You don't know when they could come down with those pink slips. You don't know when your boss decides to become insolvent. You don't know when you decide to do your own thing and go on your own. So just like you wouldn't leave it to your boss to take care of your car or to buy a car for you, and just like you wouldn't leave it to your boss to buy your house for you, of all things, do not leave it to your boss to make sure your family's taken care of if anything were to happen to you. You've done such a good job up until now, making sure that your family is good. The last thing you need is to leave it to your boss to make sure that your family is good. Because at the end of the day, the way corporate works is they're going to make sure their shareholders are taken care of above your household, which means it is entirely up to you to make sure that your household is taken care of. So that's just a quick little friendly tip about whether or not you actually have coverage on your job or not. So, if you would like to get a quote for your family to see how much life insurance will cost to make sure that everything is good for your family on end, please feel free to send me an email at chanel@genwealthbuilders.com, or you can send me a message through Facebook, and I'll be more than happy to do a quote for you. Right now I'm able to do quotes in Connecticut, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them below in the comments, and I will be happy to have that discussion with you. All right, you have yourself a good one. Bye-bye.